Hello and welcome to episode number 17 from In the World of Presentations podcast with me, Boris, and
Iva, again from the team.
Yeah, so we're moving forward this time after a guest episode. I don't know whether or not you have seen or heard that one because it's a podcast, you have to hear it. But that one was the first one with a guest, and I highly recommend you stop this one, and if you haven't listened to episode 16 yet, go and check it out. Even though the quality of the audio is not that good, I would highly recommend you listen to Mark Bowden, one of the most renowned body language experts, was with us in the previous episode. Today, however, we are talking about something else. We're moving on the subject of planning a successful presentation, something that we started the podcast with. So we are coming from a client. In the day that we are recording this, I'm actually coming from a client, and today we have spent quite a lot of time on one particular topic, which is online presentations. They're presenting quite a lot online, meaning Skype for Business, Cisco Webex.
And who isn't?
Who isn't nowadays? There is quite a lot of research that they're like more than 50% and more than 60%, depending on the market and depending on which research are you looking at, of the presentations out there are now being delivered online. So now that becomes a huge topic, right? So are there any specifics, and what do you need to know and what do you need to plan so that your online presentation is going to be successful? Are there any specifics?
Well, probably if you ask someone who works in a corporation, they would say that no, there aren't any specifics because they are doing online presentations every day. However, I think that's the same problem that we encounter in general with presentations. People are doing them every day and they say that there are no specifics and everything is super clear.
And they don't have to prepare for them, and if they prepare whatsoever, they prepare in the last 10 minutes, especially for online presentations.
I mean, come on, I'm sure everyone's done it. If you need to present an idea to someone and it's through Skype, you're like, okay, I'm just going to read from like a sticky note on the other screen, or I'm just going to share only my PowerPoint file or PDF file even sometimes. So I'm just going to read off a sticky note. However, even from my perspective, online presentations changed quite a lot throughout the years. Before, people used to do only audio, so you would only hear the person from the other side. You would eventually share your screen.
If they know how to unmute themselves, you will hear them.
Yes. So that's another story with the conf calls. But generally now I see more and more people wanting to go to a, for example, video room or a overall, room that they can use for their conf calls, or they just turn on the cameras through Skype or Teams or whatever platform they're currently using. So, yes, there are quite a lot of specifics that you need to think about when you're planning an online presentation.
Yeah. So that being said, in order for us to be of help to you, let's talk about those specifics, because nowadays you have like so many platforms that are available to you. Maybe you're using Skype for Business, which is soon to be deprecated, which means that Microsoft is killing it, unfortunately, for very few people. Then it's moving on. Skype for Business will transform to Microsoft Teams. However, we have Google Hangouts, we have Cisco Webex, we have Citrix with their GoToMeeting, we have, what else? We have Zoom. Zoom became extremely popular. Yes. They did some crazy IPO thing in the last 3 or 4 months.
And both for webinars and meetings, it's a very cool platform that you can use for presentations.
A lot of insanely cool companies which we cannot name, unfortunately, because you are riding with them on the streets, are using Zoom for their online meetings and more or less all their communication. But all of those platforms come with their specifics, and maybe the first thing that we need to start and kind of tell you and advise you is that by the way, we forgot about BlueJeans. One of our clients was using BlueJeans. Let's not talk about it.
That was a weird one, but...
Yeah, it is happening. It is enterprise-grade webinar and specific online software, so online call or online meeting call software. So having in mind that we have like at least 10 players on the market. Obviously, some of them are big, are more popular, and some of them are not that popular. You have to understand that depending on which platform you're using, depending on which tool you are using, you have to make sure that you know that tool. What I mean by that is that if you are entering in a conf call with Skype for Business or Google Hangouts or Cisco Webex or whatever, or BlueJeans for that matter, if you don't know the tool, please make sure that you log in to that conf call early on, because you have to understand what and where. Now let's see if Ivo will remember what are the most common issues when you're in an online call.
Yeah, so generally, I would
What have
say
we
that
seen?
we've seen many things. For example, oh my God, I don't know where to share my screen from.
Common.
What is this button doing? Oh no, it's turning on my camera. So where should I look for it? Do you see it? I don't see it, and it goes for like 10 minutes until the person finds out the button so they can share the screen.
Yeah.
Share the presentation that they have, and the people need to listen to, and imagine like 10 minutes of each person's time on this call
Could be
is
quite
lost,
expensive.
and it could be quite expensive.
Yeah.
So
The most oftenly seen, I believe, are the mute and mute. So people
yes.
people don't know how to mute themselves, or they don't actually know that they have to mute themselves. They sometimes just leave it out there so that we can hear them, and you can hear them. So first thing that you have to check is how do you mute or unmute yourself. For sure, the share screen thing is a big one. Today in one of our clients, people were like laughing out loud that they have seen it so often and so many times. People don't know how to share their screen.
Yes.
I mean, seriously, please guys, take a look, enter a bit early, do a test call, make sure that you know how to mute and unmute, make sure that you know how to share your screen, and also make sure that, what else? Well, the webcam, even though the webcam is kind of, you can say the webcam is easy, but sometimes people even don't know how to enter in the chat window.
Yes.
For example, in Zoom,
it's a little bit tricky. So if you haven't used the software, if you haven't used the software, you don't know how to enter the chat room. You don't know how to read people's questions, or in general the comments in the meeting. So definitely, it's definitely worth to just go ahead and take a look at the software that you're going to be using, because, for example, there are differences when the software is paid and when the software is free of charge. So there could be differences in the user interface.
One more to kind of add here so that you check it out is, please make sure that you also, how many times, I actually asked them today, how many times have you been in a call where someone doesn't know how to fix the audio issues? And I mean not the mute unmute thing, but how many times have you asked someone, do you hear me? Do you hear me? So please make sure that you find where the audio settings are, and you know very well how to change the audio settings, because that is going to be one of the first things that you may face as an issue, and it's very frustrating, and many times people are losing minutes and minutes in trying to they are rejoining the call. They are like, let me reboot my computer, it's not working, or what's going on. It is insane. It is insane. Know the platform, test it out, make sure that you know some of the major features, where are they and how they work. That's number one.
Yes, I agree.
Moving forward, that being said, many times we are sharing our screens, right? However, I don't know whether or not our listeners have seen it, but I'm sure they had. How many times have we seen someone sharing their screen and their whole desktop is a mess? Like, we can see their desktop and there are so many icons on that desktop that can, who knows what we can see in there. Like, I can see some confidential information sometimes. I can see a lot of things that maybe I'm not intended, I should not be seeing. And so the easiest thing for you to fix that, if you're using a Windows machine, you can very easily many people are like, let me create a temp folder,
Yes.
move all of my icons.
I've done it as well.
Let me move all of my icons in that temp folder. Let me move that temp folder into C drive or my documents. Present, and then I will return back the icons back on my screen once everything is over. Like, it doesn't make sense for anybody to do that. Just right click on your desktop, go to the view tab, you see a view tab, and then you see a button, as I like to say, a button, which is called show desktop icons. Relax, once you click it, there is no way, no icon, nothing will be removed, it's just hiding them. So once you're ready with the webinar, you can go back to view and then unhide your icons. So everything will be fine. That is something that's, we have seen it so many times.
Yes, and also if you think about it, there are lots of people that, for example, they share their screen, they present something, and at some point they need to share something on the internet or something in their intranet even.
Yep.
So they open a browser. And what do you see when they open a Google Chrome?
Dangerous.
So it might get dangerous because some people have 30 tabs open, others have 5 or 6, and 95% of the time they're not at all related to the presentation that they're showing. I remember one case when we were testing actually softwares. I think it was for webinars, but we had a call with a guy and he was like, okay, let me demonstrate that experience.
Yeah.
Oh, that was for
when
the online courses.
When we were looking to buy
correct.
a platform for our online courses,
which is something, for example, like $1,000 per year,
expensive.
Let's say.
So it's not that expensive. Well, it depends on who you ask, obviously. Yeah. But by the way, shameless plug here, if you don't know about our online courses, academy.356labs.com. So let's move on.
Yeah, but so I remember that guy, he had like 5 other tabs.
No, more, way more.
Yeah, and he 25. Had like different topics, and I'm like, okay, so let me see what he's looking at. Let's see what he's very interested in, so I wasn't listening to him demonstrating the whole software, so I ended up we didn't buy it.
Yes.
So I don't know if that was the case, but I'm sure that if he was more professional when he was presenting and when he was doing the demo of the software, it would have been
different.
It would have been different, yep. Let's say.
Yeah, that is something that is important to say, that anything that does not add value to what you're saying and to what you're presenting should not be there, must not be there, because if I see your icons, if I see tabs opened in a Google Chrome or any other browser, if I see your bookmarks, write that down, the bookmarks, I don't care what type of bookmarks do you have. What's more, I don't care what type of browsing history you also have, because I have seen that one too, backfiring against people in a very, very bad way. So make sure that we also don't know your browsing history. That is also true with files that are on your local machine, that are in some of the folders that you have just shared your screen, and now you're going through all of those folders and files, looking for that version of the file that you have to present for 5 minutes, and we're seeing all of those files on your machine that we shouldn't be seeing whatsoever.
Yeah. So
everything is distraction. Consider that as a distraction. As Iva said, we are not listening and nobody is going to listen because they're looking. That is a distraction, and you presenters don't like distractions. They like to minimize them because the focus should be on you and your presentation and not on what icons you have on your desktop. Yeah,
correct. And in general, people are very interested in people's personal life. So I would say that everyone, without even sometimes trying, is looking what you're showing. So I would say lesson number 2, if you're using, for example, Google Chrome for your everyday stuff and you have your history there, Booksmark, etc., just use another software. Just use another browser for when you are sharing the screen.
As simple as that.
Use Edge, use Internet Explorer.
Use the new version of Edge.
Yeah.
maybe.
Everything works perfectly fine.
Which is Chromium based, which is more or less meaning that it's like Chrome, but it's from Microsoft. Or use a guest profile. Like if you go to Google Chrome and click on your personal profile, you will see that there is an option for you to enter in Google Chrome as a guest. If you do that, again, there will be no history, there will be no bookmarks, there will be nothing. Or just plain and simple removal of those things for your presentation if you don't have any other browser. Like that is also working. Just make sure that there are no distractions. And when we talk about distractions, I think we are forgetting one of the biggest ones, which is notifications. So I'm coming from a training today, in the day that we are recording it. 2 days ago, I was in another company doing a presentation training again for another IT company. So we were doing presentation skills for IT people. And during the dry run of one of the guys in the room, a Viber notification popped out on his screen, coming from his wife, asking him whether or not he bought bread for home.
Oh.
Let me promise you.
That sounds
let
funny.
me promise you that his presentation was not related to family relationships, so that notification didn't bring any value to what he was saying. And what's even more unfortunate, because he was looking at us, at the audience, which is how it should be, he didn't even notice that notification showed. Please kill any software that you are not using, any chat program. Everything should be closed. Together with that, if you're on a Mac, you can go to a do not disturb mode from the control center. If you're on a PC, you can turn the notifications off.
Yeah.
And
By simply typing notifications in the start menu
and turn off
and
a
turn
switch.
off, yeah.
Yeah, and if you're using a new version of Windows 10, some of the latest upgrades, there is a new feature that is called Focus Assist, which is exactly underneath the notifications. You can set it up to allowing notifications only from alarms. And if you're not using an alarm from your PC, then no notification will show up at all whatsoever. So here are the practical ways that you just follow what we're saying and everything will be fine. That's it. It is as simple as that.
Boris, now that you're sharing that story about the Viber notification, I remember that TED Talk. What was that TED Talk called by this guy who used the email notifications? I think he was an IT guy.
That was not on a TED Talk. That is, by the way, Brent Orza.
Yeah.
Shout out to Brent and congratulations on the Porsche. I am envying you and I will envy you forever. But yeah, Brent is a great guy. He's a great presenter. He created one of the coolest IT consulting companies in the world, I should say, the Brent Ozar Unlimited. So he used notifications in an extremely clever way, using Outlook notifications, which he actually screenshotted.
Yes.
So he was talking about high availability, which means that for all of you who are not IT people, high availability in the IT world means if one server goes down, another one takes over, so that there is no interruption on your service. Let's say your website. If the server that holds your website dies, there should be a high availability set on. So your website goes and kind of moves to another server so that your website is still accessible by us together with Iva, right? You don't want your website to go down completely. And he actually created a situation where in the first 3 minutes, he showed a notification saying, and coming from a lady, I don't remember the name.
I think it was a client.
Of course, saying, Brent, all our servers are down. And then once he showed that once this popped on his screen, a few seconds later, it actually disappeared in the same way as the Outlook notification disappears if you don't click on it. However, that created a very interesting moment inside of the room, as you can imagine, because he's one of the most expensive consultants on the world about high availability. And his clients and his projects are now failing, right? His servers are failing, so that's kind of controversial. Okay, and then like 5 minutes later...
Yeah, 5 minutes later, there was another notification, and he was, literally presenting and not pretending not to know about those, and the audience was like, "What the hell is going on?"
Yeah, and the second one was Brent calls as ASAP, like ASAP.
Yeah.
Right? And the whole audience was laughing out loud. It turned out that he simulated a situation like this, asked someone to send him an email with those words, screenshotted his screen, cropped the screenshot so that only the notification remains in the picture, and then he inserted that picture into the PowerPoint presentation, and on a click, while he was walking around the stage, he was clicking on his clicker, presenter, remote, no matter how you want to call it, and that picture was showing. And then on the next click, it was disappearing.
Yes,
and it's
so
extremely clever.
In summary,
extremely clever.
In summary, yeah, I think that was a very, very clever move. Something that you can, turn from a mistake into a great way to engage actually your audience. Yeah. But that was something that he did on purpose, so it wasn't an accident.
Yeah.
Nothing in the good presentations is an accident.
Yeah. So that being said, one of the other quick tips that we want to share is, if you're presenting online and the presentation is important, if you are able to, please go or please stand up. Like, please go on in a room or just stand up somewhere where you're sitting, because your voice and overall the way you are going to present will be completely different. Overall, your whole body language will change compared to if you are sitting and if you are standing up. So if the presentation is important and if you are able to stand up and present in such a way, do so. You will hear a huge difference. Again, if it is possible. That's trick number 3. So moving on, is it 4?
It's
4.
So
Eva is saying, Eva is showing me it's
the
number
third
4.
one is the browser.
Oh, we can say it. Okay. Anyway. So what else? What else I believe is related to all of you who are already using webcams, or if you are planning to use a webcam. So what's the trick there?
So when it
If he's like, is it me now? So what's the trick there?
So when it comes actually to webcams, that's something that I really, really like, and I tried to push a lot to turn on the webcam at my previous job, because I think that when you see the person's eyes and you see the face, the connection immediately gets so much
different.
Yes, so anytime that I am presenting in front of a client or literally like having a consultation, something that I do, and that even a client, I think it was like 2 or 3 days ago, told me, oh my God, I haven't thought about it never, is to look at the camera. I mean, directly at your PC camera. If you're using a laptop, that means to look a little bit above from the screen, not to look your face in the screen, but to look a little bit above, because it creates the feeling that you're looking into the person's eyes. So that's, I would say, quite important, and it creates a very, very different feeling into that person. And they're like, oh my God, I have the feeling that we're talking like face to face currently, which is not the case, but it creates a very nice connection with that person that you're talking to.
Yeah, very, very important. It's a very slight difference. Just instead of looking at your screen while you are presenting, look at the camera. And if it's better for you, you can even put your laptop or machine on the level of your eyes so that it's like kind of straight in front of you. If you consider that's a problem, like if you really want, can we squeeze the maximum out of it, you can put your machine on like a few books or on a different table, whatever. However, the difference is humongous.
Or you can just put like a colorful small piece of paper where your camera is and focus your eyes there.
Yeah.
When the other person is talking, you can look in your screen.
Yes.
But when you are talking, it's advisable to look into the camera. Yeah. Also, another thing that's related to standing up when you're presenting or when you're talking with someone online, I would say it makes a huge difference if they also see your hands. If it's possible for them to see your hands, that would also create a very, very big difference.
Yeah, especially if you are able to stand up and present in such a way, make sure that you gesture in the same way that you are going to gesture while you're presenting offline, let's call it. So it's not that big of a difference when you're presenting online or offline in terms of body language. So if you can apply all of your learnings in terms of body language that maybe you have heard from Mark in the previous episode, then do so in an online environment too. That's for sure. Okay, one last thing here, maybe, or two, let's see. There was a very interesting case. There was a very interesting case with a guy from BBC like a few months ago or a year from now, I don't remember, when he was presenting over Skype and his children went into his room screaming, and these were not even children, these were babies. And unfortunately, his wife actually entered in the room as there was a war inside of that room, because she obviously knew that he was presenting. That video became quite viral because the guy was not able to kind of handle the situation in a proper way. So if you're presenting from a place where there are a lot of distractions, there are distractions behind you or in front of you or whatever, if you're at home, today, technology, first, if you're able to go in another room where there are no distractions, please do so. Make sure that there are no sounds. It's the best possible room that you can find. However, technologies like, for example, Microsoft nowadays, for Office 365, for example, they now have, and it's already in production for Microsoft Teams, you can now blur the background nowadays. So you can just flip a switch and Microsoft runs an artificial intelligence algorithm, which is very modern word and kind of set of technologies. Let's say they're using an artificial intelligence algorithm to detect where your face is, and then everything else becomes blurred, which is extremely cool because it focuses the attention on you as the speaker. So if you're running that one, try it out. Take a look at it. It works quite well, by the way. We have tested it out already a few times with clients and internally. So surprising technology, but it works very, very well.
Yep, agreed.
Okay. Should we say one more for slides? I think so.
Yeah.
Let's go.
We have. That's actually a very common question that we get from our clients.
Yeah.
They're asking like, what would be the best transition to use, or what would be the best approach to use when I'm using slides in my online presentation? Now, considering the fact that when you're online and you have people in front of another PC somewhere, they might be on the other side of the world.
Australia.
But they might get a little bit more distracted, let's say, than when you're presenting offline. So what we would always advise you to do is to create more contrast with your slides and to even move along with your slides a little bit faster than you would be doing when you're presenting offline. Another thing that is very important...
Which means that you can, which means even in a more simple way, to put it even more simple way, it means that if you are having a presentation for an online world, that could be 60 slides, let's say, I don't know. But if you want to kind of extract the maximum out of it from the online world, you want more slides.
Correct.
The reason why you want more slides is so that the visual environment in front of your audience changes more often. And because it changes, that creates contrast, and because of that, people pay attention.
That's correct. So you have more like visual stimulation, and they have the reason to listen to you and to watch at the screen. Also, another thing when it comes to transitions and animations,
to
slides, again, do not use. That's valid for offline presentations as well, but try and do not use any fancy and crazy transitions and animations that you might be using for your offline presentations. Even though, especially in Bulgaria, we have like very, very fast internet. We're often
way faster than you guys in Germany or in the United States, by the way.
Yes,
if you're from there,
which is a very fun thing. But
sorry to say, but it's true.
But anyway, so when you're talking to different people, you're not sure what is the connection that you're having. So that cool animation that you've put on that slide might not be at all recognizable that it's an animation even. So no fancy transitions, no fancy animations. I would even say that sometimes fade might be a bit too much.
Yes.
So even if you turn off any transitions that you have on your slides and you put just none, that should be perfectly fine.
Should be perfectly fine. Yeah, we have shown this so many times when you have a transition. Wait a minute. Transition as, for example, one of the newest ones in PowerPoint, like more for Magic Move in Keynote or whatever. Then all of those transitions are actually moving. Your audience is seeing it in such a slow way, and it's very, very disturbing. Like, it's very annoying, and if they see 2 or 3 times slides moving like this, they can disconnect, or they can just open another tab and just skip the slides. That is not a good idea, so that's why you have to try it out with friends online. We have actually today, we tried it in the same room, on the same network, and it was slow. It is insane. So remove transitions and animations if possible, limit them to the minimum. So yeah, that is 5 or 6 or 7 advices depending on how you kind of count them. So again, if you have any other questions, don't forget that we are a presentation agency and we do only presentations. That's why we can say, hey, these are the things that you can do. We're a company that helps our clients write, design, and deliver truly effective presentations. So if you need any help in that regard, let us know.
Yeah, but we also train them to write, design, and deliver truly effective presentations themselves.
That's also true.
So if
we
you
have one of the richest portfolio of trainings.
Yes,
let's say.
That's correct. Indeed, we have one of the richest portfolio of presentation trainings.
Related trainings, yeah, that's
only.
True. Yeah.
So if you need some help in that matter, let us know.
Yeah, and until then, you can take a look at all of our work. We are all over the place. Facebook, Instagram, just name it. SoundCloud, like LinkedIn, Meetup. We are all over the place. So take a look at our work online. And yeah, I think that's that.
Yeah, see you in the next episode.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.